Hello everyone. I thought I would do a video to show you how I made this card. It was a bit of an experiment because I'd had a few new products to try. One of which is the new colour of Distress Oxide ink, which is Lost Shadow. And I bought a few of these Distress embossing powders. They are translucent, so you get a bit of sheen, a bit of shine, a bit of colour, but you can see anything that is printed underneath it. I've also ordered one of these things to see how I got on with it. It's a Versamark dabber, so instead of having a pad, it's in a bottle with a sponge applicator on the end, so I thought I'd have a go with that. And this is what I came up with. I had a script stamp. I used this one from Indigo Blue, but you can probably see this is more of a sort of a rectangle shape, whereas I've got it going with a bit missing, and I didn't mask it. I decided I would use the stamp just in my hands. So I kind of went like this. Here, this is part of a stencil. I use this stencil from Craftreat. I rather care for flourishes, and I thought I would just use a bit of that. And again, I put it down and just used part of it with Versamark and Emboss. Well, look, I can talk forever, couldn't I? Let's just get on and do it, and I'll show you what I did. The first thing is the panel I cut from a slightly larger one. The reason being, because I was doing this without a block, without a stamp platform, just in my fingers, I couldn't align it properly, and when I'd actually stamped it, it wasn't really straight. So I cut another panel that was parallel with the lines of script. So my first tip is start with a bit of card that's a bit bigger than the one you want to actually finish up with, so you've got a bit of room to organise the fact that if you don't do it straight, you can alter it. Okay, let's just get going. I'll move this packet out the way. So here's my stamp. Let me just make sure which is the right way up. Let's have a look. That's the right way up, with the straighter side on the right. So that's the right way up. Okay, try and remember that, Christine. So I'm going to, if that's the right way up, I want this side kind of, well, I'll just do all of it, and then we won't be out, will we? Right. Just make sure there's ink all over it. I'm just going to use the one colour, Lost Shadow. Bless it. Right. Now I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to use part of it. I'm just going to try and put it down. And I know it's not straight now. I can feel. There we go. Well, it's not too bad, is it? Not too far out. So there's my basic bit that I want to do. Just going to put this out of the way a minute. It was actually very great fun doing this because I say several of the things I haven't done previously. Right, there's my script stamp. Now, over my script stamp, I'm going to put some stenciling, and I can use whichever corner of this I fancy. I might even use a different one, actually. Should I? No, I'll carry on with this because it was kind of in my head, but I'll use a different bit, maybe. And it doesn't matter about getting this bit straight because it's just swirly thing, so it doesn't really matter, but I will just tape it down a little bit just to hold it still. Now, this is where I'm going to use my Emboss It, what's it called? Emboss It Dabber. Emboss It Dabber. So I'm just going to dab where I want some of this ink. I don't know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to squeeze it a little bit. If you look sideways across your work, you can see if there's any coming out. And again, I want the same kind of corner sort of shape. I'm reserving judgment on this product, maybe for different things. In the ordinary way, if I wanted to add Versamark through a stencil like this, I would use the pad and just dab the pad down. But if you do that, the tendency is to get a straight edge where it finishes. Whereas if you use a dabber, you can make your subtle line if you want to. Right, I'm going to take that off. Put that on one side because I will clean that up in a minute. And what I'm going to do next is to put some of this Distress embossing powder over it. And the script should show through the embossing, because it's not exactly clear, it's translucent. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Is that enough for me? I think it might be. There we go. Right, we'll put this back into the pot. And we just cover it up. And heat emboss. Sorry about the noise, chaps. Whoops-a-daisy. Quite interesting, isn't it? I rather care for that. If you can see, it is just slightly out of square. So I've got chance now to cut another panel from this to make it square again, because I hate things that are a bit skew-whiff. The flower that I used was this one. I don't know if it's Memory Box, if it's Simon Says Stamp, I'm not absolutely sure. I haven't used it an awful lot, but I thought that looked kind of quite nice. So I'll just cut a bit. I think I'll cut it from the same bit of card as this, because I'm not going to be using the whole thing. So let me just cut this off here. This card is plain white. It's not brilliant white. I don't like brilliant white, I'm afraid. It's like light bulbs, isn't it? You can get this cool white and warm white. I would never buy a cool white light. I don't like them. So this is what I'm trying to say. This is regular white from Paper Mill Direct, just plain white card. So I had a look at this, what it was like white, and it doesn't really show up that much. So I thought I would colour this as well. And what I coloured it with was some more of this Distress Oxide. And there are various ways of colouring. To get the deepest colour, I would colour direct from the pad. But if I wanted a more subtle colour, I would use a blending brush. So I'm just going to go straight on with this like this. It's a very pretty colour, this, you know, very pretty. I really like it. Look at that, it's a warm grey. Really nice. There. So what I did for the rest of the card, simply, I think I may have done another layer of ink just to deepen the colour a bit. The more you add, the deeper the shade would become, so you can get variances of colour by the amount that you use. And I added a little Nouveau, what do they call it? Glitter gloss. It's like a wink of Stella. And in the centre of the flowers, I added some of these tiny, flat-backed, self-adhesive pearls. I think they're so, so pretty. The sentiment I put on was just the hello part. It said hello friend, but I just did the hello part. I've an idea this may be Spellbinders. They often have this copper colour, don't they, for their dye? So I think that might be a Spellbinders. But there you go. I may well use this one. I may use a different one because this is a different shape. But it'd be quite. I think this is going to be going to end up being a square one. This one just happened to be the shape I managed to cut. I think I've used a different bit of the stencil this time. But there we go. It's a bit different, and I'll have to see what else I can do with this translucent embossing powder. So, as ever, thank you so much for watching.